Why is it that the MR2 Spyder is so hated? Well, when your legacy involves something like the SW20, which is a fantastic car platform, everything from 700 horsepower 3S GTEs all the way to K-swap monsters. But this was actually the first time I'd driven the MR2 Spyder, and I wanted to see if it was really as bad as everybody said. People say it doesn't have the right motor, it doesn't have the right aesthetic or the right looks, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it. So let's find out if the MR2 Spyder is really as bad as everybody says. Before we move on with today's video, I want to thank today's sponsor, Keeps. Did you know that 2 out of 3 men will have some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? And the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair on your head. With Keeps, a licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment plan for you. Then your treatment is shipped directly to your door every 3 months. And you can actually message your Keeps doctor 24/7 for any questions or concerns you may have. And you can keep track of your progress using the Keeps progress tracking tool. And Keeps offers generic version of FDA approved medication, so it's even more affordable. Keeps treatments typically take around 4 to 6 months to start seeing results, so the sooner you get started, the more hair you're gonna save. So find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, and why hundreds of thousands of men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention. So if you are ready to take action and prevent hair loss, make sure to head over to keeps.com/ThatDudeinBlue or click the link in the description below to receive a special offer on Keeps treatments. That's KEEPS.com/ThatDudeinBlue. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a Toyota MR2 Spyder. And today I am going to see if it really is as bad as a lot of people say. And along with that, comparing it against, say, the AW11 and the SW20. Why was the MR2 Spyder not loved as much as the SW20? Well, the number one reason is the motor. The motor is a 1ZZ, which is actually what you find in a bunch of Toyota commuter cars and economy cars. So you find it in the Corolla, you find it in stuff like that. So it makes 138 horsepower to the crank. And that turned a lot of people off, unfortunately. Especially when you were spoiled with the 3S GTE on the SW20 MR2, a turbo 4-cylinder, compared to an all-motor 1ZZ, which didn't seem as impressive at the time. Even with all this criticism, I have to say, I've never been in the MR2 Spyder. I've never ridden in it, I've never driven it. The first impression is the seating position. I feel great. I haven't gotten on the car yet, but when it comes to steering input, very, very fast steering. Neogen tires, Koenig wheels, and a really fantastic shifter. Very short, very crisp, with a Greddy shift knob on it, because, you know, Fast and Furious, hot boy. But we have a carbon roof, carbon trunk. The motor, the 1ZZ, is tucked way in there when it comes to when you pop the rear hood, or the rear trunk, whatever you want to call it. The owner was telling me that the hardest thing to access is the intake manifold. Everything else is pretty easy to get to. It just looks very intimidating. I will say though, gauges look pretty cheap. That's the only downside of this car when it comes to the interior, because everything else is a nice Toyota at the time. Even if it's plastic, it's textured and it feels nice. And also the dash has all these circles on it, like textured circles on it. I thought that was interesting. Another thing too, I'm in a bride seat, very comfortable. Momo steering wheel, but the steering input is so fast. I can do whatever I want very quickly. Ooh! Wait a minute. I thought these cars were bad. What? This sounds nasty. Dude. legacy for most people is the snap oversteer. And eventually they figured that out. This is more flat than any well-suited SW20 I've ever driven. And that's with coilovers, sway bars, whatever. I now associate the SW20 now more as a drag car, which is crazy because people are K-swapping them, or the ones I've driven are built 3S GTEs making like 700 horsepower. This feels like a completely different purpose. It feels like a rear engine Miata, and I know that's probably like rolling your eyeballs, but this feels better than an NC Miata in my opinion. This feels better than, what? This thing sounds so mean. Wow. Also, the exhaust coming out the side is pretty funny. He made his own custom exhaust with this little tiny heat wrap on the bumper. This is so much fun. Yeah, buddy! This is such a good sounding economy motor. Even the new Evora using a Camry V6 sounds really amazing. Good. I'm also in a Cusco bolt-on cage. And another thing too, even with this hardtop, I'm gonna compare this hardtop to say like a Spoon hardtop on an S2000 because it kind of gives a similar vibe. It has really good visibility and it doesn't creak or rattle like the Spoon top does. Unfortunately, the Spoon top can creak and flex and rattle. This feels like it's part of the car. Okay, the more I drive this thing, the more sad I'm getting. The more sad I'm getting that people really dismiss this car as the slow junk one. That's what people tell you. They go, oh, the MR2 Spyder? Nah, that's the really bad one. But this, I'm so nice and low. I have more confidence than a Honda S2000, like 100%, with these tires, with the suspension setup. There's not a lot of cars I get in and turn in with the steering ratio, and I go, wow, I want one. Is faster, but when it comes to corner entry speed, I don't know, man. I just don't know. It feels like a budget Lotus Elise. I think that's a really good point of reference. Light go-kart feel. This isn't much bigger than a Lotus Elise. If not, it's the same size. I have headroom. Even with this hardtop, I have plenty of headroom, and you'd think that your head would be hitting against it. Also, he insulated the top. If you can't tell right here, he insulated it, and that's probably also helping with any noise coming from the top. We also have a head unit, but it's interesting. The head unit is really low. It's in front of the shifter, so like reaching for the head unit and the shifter's kind of in the way, if that makes sense. So that's interesting. This four-banger has a very mean, non-raspy sound to it. And like with a lot of slower cars, you can get on it and you don't get in trouble. You know what? I think I know the issue. I think I know the issue with the MR2 Spyder. It's its branding. I understand why they call it the MR2. I understand why they call it because of the mid-engine, borderline rear engine setup. It's low. It's a manual. It's a Toyota what else would you call it, right? Obviously, they're gonna call this the MR2, but maybe in a different universe, a different dimension, maybe they would have called this something different and marketed it more as the full throttle Lotus Elise type of driving. The SW20 comes with this scare factor that this one just doesn't have. I have no fear in this thing whatsoever. I also want to add, and with this reputation of the MR2 Spyder, you can buy these for cheap. If you want a cool handling mid-engine car, you can buy these for so cheap. Go on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, you can find them. It gives you the thrill of a high horsepower car without having a high horsepower car, because you can just chuck it into corners. And the steering, you just barely turn in. Oh my, see, look at that, dude. Insane. This is so, oh my God. The MR2 Spyder. I personally have seen the light. I understand it. If you think of the MR2 Spyder as a completely different car than the SW20 and the AW11, you will grow to appreciate it. You will grow to understand that it's a different beast in its own way. It has a different philosophy from the 3S GTE MR2. Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. It really helps me out. On that note, I upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. This video is brought to you by Patterson Car Care. Get double of premium original detail product for half the price. Head over to PattersonCarCare.com or go to the link in the description below.